The 1960s were a time of fun, adventure, and unforgettable memories. It was a decade that shaped a generation, with things that felt like pure magic, from bouncing on Pogo Sticks to saving up those little green and blue chip stamps for something special. Today, I'm taking you through 18 things that made the 60s unforgettable. Let's see how many you remember. Pogo Sticks. Pogo sticks were absolutely everywhere in the 60s. Kids would spend hours just trying to stay upright, bouncing up and down the sidewalk, wobbling until they either found their rhythm or tumbled off with a laugh. I remember my first one. It wasn't as easy as it looked. With nothing but a metal frame, a spring, and some footrests, it took real skill to keep going. That clicking sound of the spring, the feeling of weightlessness for just a second, it was pure magic. A scraped knee here and there was just part of the experience. It was the original full-body workout, powered by a spring and a complete lack of fear. Ant farms. In the 60s, ant farms were a popular way for kids to get up close and personal with nature, right in their own bedroom. It wasn't just a simple pastime. It was a tiny world to explore. You'd watch as the ants built tunnels, carried food, and worked together like a little army. The excitement wasn't just in watching them, it was in creating the perfect setup for them to thrive in. I remember just staring at it for hours. It was pretty cool to say you had your own little ant colony living right in your room, even if they never paid rent. Fizzies were the 60s version of instant fun. These little tablets could turn a plain glass of water into a bubbly, fizzy treat in just seconds. You'd drop one into a glass, watch it bubble and fizz like a science experiment, and then enjoy a sweet carbonated drink. It wasn't just the taste, it was the whole process that made it so exciting. For a lot of kids, it felt like you were making your own soda right there in the kitchen, the official drink of amateur scientists and thirsty kids everywhere. Party lines. Getting a private phone line was a huge deal back then. Before that, many families shared a party line with their neighbors, which meant you might pick up the phone and overhear someone else's conversation, whether you wanted to or not. And let's be honest, we had a little fun with that. Did you ever do that? Let us know in the comments. But once you finally got your own line, it was a game changer. No more waiting for someone to finish their call. The original social network, where you could hear all the neighborhood gossip, sometimes by accident. Green and blue chip stamps. In those days, shopping came with a bonus. Green and blue chip stamps were given out when you spent a certain amount at the grocery store or the gas station. My mom had a little drawer in the kitchen just for them. We'd collect them in booklets, and once we had enough, we could trade them for all sorts of items from a special catalog. It felt like a little treasure hunt. Each trip to the store brought us closer to something new. It was the original rewards program, and it was way more fun than just getting points on an app. Can openers for soda. Back then, opening a can of soda or beer meant using a metal can opener, sometimes called a church key. These openers had a sharp, pointed end on one side. It wasn't as easy as just pulling a tab. You had to puncture the can in two different spots, one to drink from and one for air to get in. It might have taken a bit of effort, but that first sip always tasted all the sweeter after the work. A time when you needed a tool and a little bit of muscle just to open a can of Coke. Smoking everywhere. It's hard to imagine now, but in the 60s, smoking was as common as sipping coffee. You could light up just about anywhere, on airplanes, in restaurants, and even in hospitals. It was a social ritual. Cigarette brands became almost a part of someone's identity. Smoking was so widespread that even pregnant women were often seen lighting up. It was a completely different world with a very different understanding of health. It was a time when the only vape-free zone was probably outer space. The console, television. The television was the centerpiece of every living room. And in the 60s, it wasn't just a screen, it was a console television. These bulky, wooden-framed sets often took up an entire wall and were designed to be a stylish piece of furniture. You had to get up to change one of the 3 channels, and you always had to fiddle with the rabbit ear antennas for the best picture. I remember my dad was so proud of our new console TV. It was a magical time. when the whole family would gather around to watch their favorite show. A beautiful piece of furniture that just happened to have a small, blurry screen inside. The drive-in theater? Nothing captured the essence of a 60s night out like a trip to the drive-in theater. You'd pull up to a giant outdoor screen, park your car, and hang the crackly metal speaker on your window. It wasn't just about the film, it was the whole experience. Families would fill up the car with blankets and homemade popcorn. It was an event, a place where the magic of cinema came to life in the open air. The best movie theater in the world was your family's station wagon. Soda fountains? Soda fountains were the go-to spots for a cool drink and a good time. These retro counters were always buzzing with energy, offering everything from ice-cold sodas mixed by hand to indulgent milkshakes and malts. People would gather with friends on the spinning stools, chatting and enjoying a refreshing treat. There was something special about the atmosphere, the clink of glasses, the hum of conversation, and the classic tunes on the jukebox. The place where every visit felt like a little celebration. The World Book Encyclopedia. In those days, the World Book Encyclopedia was our Google. For many families, owning a full set was a big deal. It was like having the entire world at your fingertips. As kids, we loved flipping through the colorful pages, whether we were doing a school report or just looking up something that sparked our curiosity. I remember spending hours just getting lost in the A volume. It was our window to knowledge before the internet existed, the original search engine, and the battery never died. Paper maps. Paper maps were an essential travel companion before GPS. If you wanted to go somewhere, you had to rely on these trusty maps to guide you. Unfolding a giant map and planning your route on the hood of the car was part of the fun of a road trip. There was no zooming in or rerouting, just a big, detailed map that showed the world one road at a time. I still have a few tucked away in my glove compartment, just in case. The original GPS, which sometimes led to family arguments when you folded it up wrong. Banana seat bikes. Banana seat bikes were the ride of choice for kids. With their long, curvy seats and high-rise handlebars, these bikes made you feel like you were cruising in style. I still remember my first one. A bright yellow Schwinn Stingray with that classic banana seat. It was built for comfort and for looking cool. Those bikes, with their vibrant colors, were a true symbol of 60s childhood. The closest a kid could get to owning a Harley-Davidson. The national anthem on TV at sign-off. Back in the 60s, the national anthem played when television stations signed off for the night. After hours of programming, the screen would often fade to a test pattern, and then the anthem would fill the room. It was a solemn moment that marked the end of the day. For many, it was a comforting, familiar routine before static took over the airwaves until morning. The final show of the night, every single night. Slide projectors. Photographic slides and slide projectors were the ultimate way to relive and share special moments. After a vacation or family gathering, the living room would turn into a movie theater. The projector would click through the slide after slide, bringing your memories to life on a portable screen or a blank wall. It wasn't just about looking at photos, it was about gathering together and reminiscing, one slide at a time. The original PowerPoint presentation, but with more arguments about which way the slide goes in. The moon landing. In 1969, the whole world stopped. I remember my family huddled around our console TV, watching Neil Armstrong stepping onto the lunar surface. We were all thinking, wow, we're really doing this. It was like the impossible had just become real. Even if you didn't fully understand all the details, you knew something huge was happening. That one small step for man felt like a giant leap for everyone. A moment so powerful, it made the whole world feel like one neighborhood. Zebra stripe gum. If you were a kid in the 60s, zebra stripe gum was a must-have. With its bright, colorful wrapper, it stood out from all the other gum. The delicious fruit flavor lasted for about 30 seconds, but that didn't stop us. It wasn't about the taste sticking around, it was all about the fun, sharing a piece with your friends, and trying to put on the temporary tattoo that came inside the wrapper. The most delicious 30 seconds in bubblegum history. A&W Driveup Restaurants. If you remember the 60s, A&W drive-up restaurants were something truly unique. You'd park, and within moments, a server, often on roller skates, would glide up to your car, bringing your meal on a tray that hooked onto your window. It was usually a root beer float in a frosty mug, or a burger. It wasn't just about grabbing a bite. It was about the whole experience. Dinner and a show, and the show was just trying to eat without spilling anything in your dad's car.